You know, I
These
never
numbers
thought a
don't add
simple
up.
notice in my building's mail
Let me
slot
see
could
that
turn
again.
my quiet life in Oakwood Crest completely upside down. But there it was, staring at me like a bad joke. This official-looking letter from the condo board, slapping me with a $500,000 fine for what they called egregious breaches of community standards. I ripped it open, expecting maybe a reminder about the gym reservation system or something mundane. But no, it was a laundry list of nonsense. My balcony rail was 2 inches too low. The tile patterns on my terrace formed disruptive shapes. And get this, the shade of blue on my front door was offending the building's color palette. Apparently, it clashed with the feng shui vibe or whatever. And at the bottom, payable in 30 days to the board president herself, Penelope. Man, Penelope with her sharp, severe bob, always tan face, and that stare that could curdle milk. She'd had it out for me ever since I skipped her mandatory welcome meet and greet when I moved in 2 years ago. Ignoring her invite was some personal betrayal in her little kingdom of high-rise units. I mean, Penelope wasn't just running the board, she lived for it. Thrived on the power it gave her to nitpick everyone's lives. Clipboard in hand, cruising around in her motorized wheelchair like she was the sheriff of the lobby. I think deep down it stemmed from her own frustrations, maybe feeling overlooked in her marriage or whatever, but she channeled it all into controlling us, turning minor gripes into crusades. I remember calling my buddy Leo on the floor below, been there forever, knew all the dirt, and he just laughed through the phone. $500,000? That's Penelope's scorched earth move, man. She pulled something similar on the old Miller family. Scared them right out to Nevada. But I wasn't bolting. This land beneath my building, it wasn't just dirt. It was my grandpa's legacy. A big plot he'd snagged back in the 70s before the board even dreamed of existing. And unbeknownst to them, I now own the ground beneath their fancy community lounge, the pool, even the rooftop pickleball courts. All leased to the condo association with a clause about maintaining harmonious relations with the landlord. I'd kept it quiet, figuring live and let live. But Penelope's fine. That crossed the line, igniting this fire in me, this mix of anger and amusement, because for once I had the upper hand without her even knowing. She showed up a couple of days later, marching up my hallway in her khaki slacks and embroidered board polo, visor perched like a crown, not knocking, just planting herself there and saying, "I assume you've reviewed your citation, Mr. Harlan. These infractions are serious threats to our property values." I leaned against the door frame, sipping my coffee, and shot back with a grin. "Oh yeah, Penelope, my railing is practically a national security risk, and that door color? Total diplomatic nightmare. Should I call the UN?" Her face tightened like a drum. No humor in those eyes, and she launched into this rant about standards and unity, all while her own terrace had this faded flamingo statue that looked like it had survived a hurricane. She shoved a payment brochure at me, and I couldn't resist. "Does this come with free lawn gnomes? Cause that might sweeten the deal." She stormed off, but that was just the spark. Soon, notices piled up daily. A fine for my air conditioner humming too loud after dusk, for excessive pigeon traffic in my trees after I put out feeders, even for my recycling bin peeking out an inch from the back door. Leo told me over beers that she'd been boasting at the last meeting about finally reining in that troublemaker. And that's when it hit me. Her ego was bruised because I didn't play her game, didn't bow to her authority. And now she was escalating to prove she could break anyone. But here's where it gets good. I didn't react right away. I let her think she was winning, waving cheerfully as she scooted by, glaring daggers. While behind the scenes, I dug in. I met with this lawyer buddy, Sam, a no-nonsense guy who'd eaten condo cases for breakfast, and he confirmed it. My ownership was ironclad, and that harmony clause? Her bogus fine shredded it. So, I waited for their big spring festival at the community lounge. Banners, food trucks, a cover band, and 3 days before, I filed to end the lease. Simple as that. The morning of the event, Penelope rolls up to find padlocks on the gates, evicted, private property signs everywhere, and a couple of security guys I'd hired just standing there, polite but firm, turning folks away unless they had my okay. I was on my terrace with iced tea when she charged up the path, the eviction notice crumpled in her fist, face beet red, sputtering. This is outrageous. You can't seize our facilities. This is community land. I handed her the lease copy, sipping slowly. Page 4, Penelope. That harmonious relations bit. Your half-mil stunt kind of nuked it. Read the fine print. She looked gut-punched, hissed something about lawsuits, and spun away as the band packed up and the caterers hauled off uneaten burgers. The neighborhood whispered for days, some shocked, others secretly thrilled. And I felt this rush, like finally standing up to a bully who'd pushed too far. Of course, Penelope didn't quit. She called an emergency meeting in the park, since the lounge was mine now. Sitting at a folding table like a judge, pearls clinking as she waved my eviction notice and pitched a $1,500 per unit fee to sue me, calling me a disruptive force eroding our bonds. But I prepped with Sam. Turns out their bylaws let us dissolve the whole board with over half the residents signing a petition, and plenty hated her already, tired of her power trips. I stood at the back, then stepped up when she opened the floor, my voice steady. Folks, before you fork over cash to fight your own landlord, yeah, that's me now, you can end the fines, the inspections, all of it right now. I've got petitions here. The bylaws say 50% plus one, and poof, it's gone. The crowd shifted, murmurs rising. Old Mrs. Martinez piped up, "Why pay for Penelope's grudge match?" and chuckles rippled. Penelope banged her silly gavel. This isn't protocol. But I kept passing forms, signatures flowing like water, her face paling as her allies averted their eyes. By the end, I had 28. Close, but the tide had turned. That night, my front door got mysteriously spray-painted. Anonymous complaints rolled in about my unsafe bird feeders. And Leo forwarded a screenshot from their private group where Penelope accused me of plotting to turn the center into a strip mall, harassing residents with illegal docks. Pure defamation, Sam said, but I held off building my case. Pride Day came, their self-congratulatory bash with awards for the most compliant unit. I'd wrangled speaking time in exchange for letting them use my lawn. I door-knocked quietly for weeks, the fine fiasco eroding her support, even her cronies whispering about her overreach. And I hit 52 signatures, enough to seal it. Up at the mic after her puffed-up speech, I said, "Hey everyone, quick word. You've shared your frustrations, the endless citations, the meddling. And guess what? Your rules let you fix it. This petition dissolves the condo board, and we've got the votes." Gasps, then shouts. Sick of the fees. My garden gnome got fined. Penelope leaped up, shoving in. "He's destroying our safeguards," but I took the mic back calm. What's safeguards? Community is a place folks actually enjoy, not a dictatorship. Applause hit. She sat fuming as more signed on. We filed. Her injunction flopped, and boom, the board vanished. No more rules, just neighbors. But Penelope, stubborn as ever, she tried sneaking back with a voluntary harmony group. Flyers popping up, driveway huddles with her diehards, plotting revival, her way of clinging to control, scared of irrelevance, maybe. I nixed her posters using my old easement rights over signage. Then I threw a free barbecue on the lawn, a banner reading, "Oakwood Crest free at last," folks laughing, kids bouncing, cementing the win. To lock it down, I filed a ban on any future boards here. Permanent. Her group meeting flopped with like 4 attendees, including her hubby, looking bored. Then her Hail Mary. Rumors of zoning tricks to grab my land. Fake petitions with county stamps and witnesses, bluffing to rally fear. I countered with a neighborhood coffee chat, docs in hand showing her fraud. See the real versus her phony seal. And the county slapped her down in a hearing, her accusing me of tyranny while the officer deadpanned. "Ma'am, your claims are baseless. Cease the seal misuse or face fines." She left shaking, defeated. Yet I went one further. I bought her mortgage through a bundle sale. Nothing personal, just leverage. Payments to me now. And after 3, not a single one on time, her house hit the market. Moving day, I watched from the porch as she loaded her scooter. No glance my way, just gone. The block bloomed with wild gardens, colorful doors, kids playing free at our Victory Grill out. Leo toasted to fresh starts. But looking back, was I too harsh, turning the tables so completely? Maybe it was justice, or maybe it was overkill, pushing someone out 'cause they pushed first.